Alright guys, I promised more packages. Here we go. We've got another one today. So again, what mysterious martial arts treasure have we been sent this week? Well, we're going to open it up and we're going to check it out. So I've had a few packages come just recently. This one's going to be a bit of a mystery to me as well until I open it. Let's take a look. Alright. Up. The Japanese version of the Sega Mega Drive version of Fatal Fury, Garō Densetsu. Alright, I used to own this back in the day. I actually had a different Japanese version to this one, although this cover looks a lot better than the one that I had. Sweet. As you can see, it's the Japanese release, so the artwork is instantly a lot better than what we got in Australia. Clearly, so if you've been watching, you know what a big fan I am of this game franchise. One of my favourite, if not my favourite one-on-one fighting game franchise. Released in about 1991, I believe. Could be wrong there. Like I said, the version that I owned back in the day, there was different artwork on it. Kind of looked like this. So I'm quite happy with the way this looks. This looks sweet. The condition is quite nice. A little bit of a blemish, a little bit of a rip there. Never mind, that's cool. All right, let's open it up. And there is our Japanese cartridge. So instantly, as you can see, let's just take it out here. Let's take it out without breaking it. Yeah, good job. Yeah, wow, look at that. As you can see, a little bit different to the typical Genesis or Sega Mega Drive cartridge. Let's put that there. It's got a bit of a different shape. Great condition, look at that. The sticker is awesome. There's no peeling. There's no real scuffs. You know, it's an old game, so whoever it is that had this previously took good care of it. Cartridges, and it's solid. No booklet, unfortunately, but that's the breaks. What can I tell you? Cool looking picture. And you've got Joe Higashi on top, Terry Bogard in the middle, Andy Bogard on the bottom. The Battle of Destiny, which was kind of the second sort of tagline to this game. Because a lot of the time you'd see the advertising as Fatal Fury, the King of Fighters. And of course, yes, this franchise gave birth to the game series later on by the same name, the King of Fighters, which is still going now. So yeah, very happy with this. This is looking great. The Battle of Destiny. The Japanese logo there for the Sega Mega Drive. A lot different to the one that we had in Australia. Now I've got a lot of fond memories of this game. Originally released on the Neo Geo system, I played this thing at the arcades forever, while other people were playing things like Street Fighter 2, I was usually the lonely schmuck in the corner playing the Neo Geo machines and playing this game, or The Art of Fighting. These were the characters that I took a liking to. It was one of the first times that I saw the fighting style, obviously Joe Higashi does, Muay Thai being portrayed in media. It was this, Street Fighter 2 obviously with Sagat, and the Van Damme movie Kickboxer. And of course, just fell in love with Muay Thai. He was my go-to player back in the arcade days. I always chose Joe. For some reason, people always seemed to choose Andy Bogard. Andy Bogard was the favourite of any player that I saw, really. Nobody ever chose Terry, I'm not sure why. But me, I always chose Joe, even when you had the fellow onlookers and gawkers having a look and saying, no, don't choose that guy, choose this guy, this is the guy to choose. But no, man, I chose Joe. And I always got to Geese Howard at the end with Joe. So, yeah, stick that up, yeah. Now, the interesting thing about the Sega Mega Drive version of Fatal Fury is that it is a lot different to both the arcade version and the Super NES version. The Super NES version is very, very faithful to the way the arcade game plays. The arcade game, shall we say, probably not the best fighting mechanics in gameplay. It plays a lot like the original Street Fighter from 1987. Again, that's because we had the same people involved in the making of that game. But with this release, you know, we've got to fast forward to the early 90s, the 16-bit wars of Super NES and the Sega Mega Drive. And one-on-one fighting games were all the rage, especially the king of the arcades, Street Fighter 2. Now, everybody wanted to own Street Fighter 2, it was a big seller. At this point in time, the Super NES was the only system, or the only 16-bit console at this point in time, that had a Street Fighter 2 title. I believe Sega had the license to Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. As usual with the Mega Drive releases, there was always something that was holding up production. Things get rushed, things get shipped out early. Just take a look at the release for Mortal Kombat 1 on Genesis. That was definitely a rushed game. Played well, but it looked like crap. Now, Sega had to do something to keep up with the one-on-one fighting trend. From what I recall, back in Australia at that point in time, this was the answer, Fatal Fury. I remember the release coincided with a Sega video game tournament, of which I had entered. The preliminary game was Fatal Fury. And sure enough, I came first place. Good times, good memories. Got slaughtered when the platformer games came along. So Fatal Fury beat Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition to the Sega Mega Drive platform. And from what I understand, it did well. Now there's something very interesting about the release for Fatal Fury on the Sega Mega Drive. The game is very different. Now this was obviously rushed as well, just like the many other Sega games that were rushed to the Sega Mega Drive. So they cut a lot of corners, and there's obviously, it feels very unfinished. It always felt unfinished to me when you play it. First up, sadly, the game is missing two characters, two of the bad guy characters. Billy Kane being a very prominent character that has been left out. You do see both these characters in the backgrounds to the game. Okay, the major thing about this game is it seems to have been reprogrammed, remade from scratch. The whole fighting engine is different to the arcade version. It plays a lot better. Look, the arcade version was a little bit glitchy. It wasn't as smooth to play as other fighting games. In fact, that felt very broken. This one plays fantastic. It's great. It's a huge improvement over the arcade game in terms of gameplay. It's really easy to play, it's very easy to pick up and just play. Something else that's different, all the stages have been adapted to have that two-plane mode. Now, that's where you can jump between the front of the stage and the back of the stage. In the arcade version, there were a few stages where you couldn't do that. I think Michael, Max, and Billy Kane, two stages that come to mind where you can't jump into the background. They've adapted every stage, I guess because it makes sense, for this gameplay. All the stages have been redrawn to some degree. They're the same stages that you remember, but they're a bit different. They're not exactly the same. What else? The game sprites is something that really puzzles me. A lot of them are identical to the original sprites, but then a lot of them have been redrawn. Inexplicably. I don't know why that is. Some of them look better than they did before, some of them look worse. Some of the kicking and punching sprites are very different to what they were. I don't know why anybody would make this kind of a change. There are two new stages that have been added into the gameplay, obviously to fill in for the two missing characters, where you fight either against Joe Higashi, Andy Bogard, or Terry Bogard, you know, the hero characters. The music is very accurate. Some of the fighting poses, stances have been changed slightly, again, just like the other sprites. Winning poses have been changed. Some of the sound effects are the same, and then some of them are just missing completely. I guess because of the rushed release here. They put this generic sort of special whooshing noise for all the special moves. That was definitely not present in any of the other versions of the game. The characters are large, they're fun to look at. Yeah, there's just a few peculiar things like that. They still puzzle me to this day. Why would you change these odd little sprites here and there? Why do this? Why do that? Why you gotta dress like that? Sorry, his lyrics. Yeah, overall, still a game that I love. Truly love this game. And when I had it back in the day, I ended up selling it. And now, well, I've got it again. Hooray. This is going straight into the collection. This is in great condition. I've always been a big fan of Fatal Fury, as you know. The anime, the games, anything else that you could get that had Fatal Fury branding on it. And I just love the design of the packaging here. They haven't covered up most of the picture with the logos, as is sometimes done. You know, it's great seeing the original logo, the original Fatal Fury or Garō Densetsu logo up there. Look at the layout on the back here. That's just great. That's cool. That's a cool looking layout. You remember a lot of these Mega Drive games when they came out, they had this generic sort of layout where there'd just be like 3 screenshots here and there'd be the description like that. Oh, this is artistic. This is graphic design. This is awesome. And this is the best looking cover of this release. So I'm real happy with this. Alright, so again, I'm a happy camper here. Time to play some Fatal Fury. Join me again for the next time that I get one of these packages, and we'll see what sort of martial arts video game related stuff it is.